Oh, here goes. And welcome to the 183rd episode of Throwback Hoops. Woody V's in the house. Please follow the show on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. And as always, I'm joined by my main man for, I don't know, maybe the second or third time on this show wearing a hat. Robbie Clayton, welcome.
What's up, Woods? I've been sleeping most of the day. I've been feeling pretty average, so hence the voice is a bit different and the hair was a bit messy. So I thought a hat, but also wanted to wear a hat in honor of your birthday yesterday. So happy birthday for yesterday. I thought I'd better rock like a bit of a matching Hawks combo for this special episode. So
Thanks,
good to
man.
be here, mate.
Appreciate it.
Had a nice birthday?
Yeah, just spent time with, my wife and, family. Didn't do much this year, but yeah, thanks. Yeah.
Nice.
Got out to the first Kings game. We'll get into that a little bit later. But yeah, let's get the show on the road, man. What jersey and hat combo have you got today?
So I'm kind of surprised. Firstly, I'll show you the hat, right? It's kind of a nice new one, right? You know, I don't have a big hat collection, so thought I'd rock this one. Pretty random Hawks jersey. I'm surprised we haven't worn this guy's jersey before, but I'll show you how I'm rocking today. And it's a special number just for you as well.
So Robbie is wearing my age. Thanks for reminding me. 42, Kevin Willis. And yes, definitely one of my favorite Hawks of all time. And Kevin Willis was playing beyond 42.
That's
he played till
special
44,
special
45.
birthday number. This is that rare jersey, Woods. I think we've both got the one where it's actually got the hawk on the front. This is the rarest of the one, this one. This is the only one of these I've got, so it's kind of a cool one. Nice 48 size Black Hawks champion jersey. A little bit on Kevin Willis, if my voice holds up. Yeah, of course, he played 21 seasons in the NBA after getting drafted out of Michigan State by the Hawks at pick 11 in the 84 draft. This Woods is obviously one of the, probably arguably the best ever draft with Olajuwon, Stockton, Barkley, and some bloke named Jordan that were in that draft. Willis played with the Hawks, Heat, Warriors, Rockets, Raptors, Nuggets, Spurs, and Mavs. He actually holds the record for most games played without making the Hall of Fame. So the 7-foot big man won a championship as well as making one All-Star game and one All-NBA third team, which are both in 1992. I think Willis is a special player for me, Woods. He was in that very first Hawks team that I started going for in the mid-'80s there. So it's kind of always had that, special, love for this guy, I guess. And look, he was known for his fashion. He was also known for being a great teammate. And despite a below-average wingspan, which some people called him the T-Rex, being one of the NBA's best on the board. So he had a career-high game rebounds tally of 33, which I thought was pretty remarkable. Despite all these seasons and holding the record for the oldest player to play in the NBA at 44, how's this, Woods? Kevin Willis finished with career earnings of $31 million, which, to put it into perspective, that's as much as players like Jeremy Grant and Jordan Poole will earn this season alone. Isn't that crazy when you put it in perspective like that, right? So Willis is now 63, still in great shape. We've seen him on a couple of Hawks broadcasts in the last year or so, kicking it with Neek there. He has a number of small businesses. He's still involved in his fashion stuff there, and he's also involved in various charities. So I know this is a guy we both love, right, Woods?
Yeah, definitely. And what made me really happy about Kevin Willis was that towards the end of his career, I think it was 2003, it must have been, with San Antonio, right? That was David Robinson's, farewell as well. And for them, those guys to catch on and get a championship ring there, I know Popovich really valued him on that roster. That's a really fun team. So after admiring him at the Hawks for so many years, to see him get that opportunity to win a ring later on in his career was fantastic.
And fun fact, in that 92 season that he had his lone All-Star game and lone All-NBA third team, he was actually 11th in MVP voting that year, which is pretty cool. So, he was a great rebounder. He threw a great outlet pass. He had that great little running hook there. Actually made a couple of threes. I did that normal thing. I wonder if he actually hit any threes. He hit a couple of threes in his rookie season, which is kind of interesting going back that far there. But yeah, someone that's great. And I was looking at those oldest players to play in the NBA, Woods. LeBron's going to move ahead of about 5 people this year. I was looking sort of ahead of that list. Once he turns 41, I think it is, in December, he's going to leapfrog about 4 people there. So it was quite an interesting list. There is a guy that played a few games at an older age, but it was not for an NBA team. So that's why I'm therefore saying it's the oldest player ever to play. And yeah, as I said, the most games ever played for someone without making the Hall of Fame, which is pretty interesting. So,
and you speak of rebounding, I think he might have had some 15, 16 rebounds per game seasons throughout his
yeah, and
career,
he
right?
actually averaged close to 20 a couple of games as well. So he's no slouch on the offensive end there. So
Yeah.
so you're liking the jersey and hat combo, and a special
it,
number 42 number for you today as well.
Love it, man.
Nice. Do you want me to go on the card of the week before you do your
Yes,
jersey?
for sure. Let's do that.
Well, I thought I'd show an NBL card, and I thought if I'm showing my favourite NBA team, I might as well show my favourite NBL team for a card. So you're going to like this one. This is pretty freshly received, this one. It's an NBL Topps Chrome all-time great. This is the current set, 24-25, of none other than the Alabama Slammer, James Crawford. Look how nice that card is. So been trying to get that set. Actually had the Simon Dwight one arrive today, which I'll have to send you a photo later, but
nice, man.
Yeah, the Alabama Slammer, James Crawford. So they've done one of these each year. I think it was Ricky Grace the first year, which I still can't find. If anyone's got one of those, hit me up. It was Damian Martin last year, and then it's James Crawford this year. So yeah, James Crawford, all-time greats auto card.
Yeah, awesome. I think the body was just speaking about him on one of his podcasts, either with Joey, talking about their all-time fives. They were selecting their all-time NBL fives. So I think it was Joey Wright, and they were giving him a shout out. And he's left. He's gone back home now. He did stay here for many years, right, in Australia?
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah. No, he was a great player, wasn't he? And I'm seeing you're rocking an NBL themed jersey today, and the Sydney Kings hat, despite them losing their first game. But yeah, why don't you show us who you're rocking today?
Yeah, just a guy that, maybe you haven't thought about in a while.
Good to stand up, rocking the number 55. Mitch Creek, Southeast Melbourne Phoenix.
I was having a bit of a think. I think you have worn a Creek jersey in the past before.
Maybe.
Yeah, but I was just thinking, he's playing in Romania. He just was the MVP of the Canadian League. Did you see that?
No, some random leagues.
My question to you is, he's been all around the world since he's left. I think he's been in China, Germany, Canada, Romania, right? Like, with the NBL at the highest level it is, you'd like to see someone like him back here, right? He's 33. Will we ever see him back here? That's a good question.
I'd like to think we would. I mean, no disrespect to Romania and Canada and stuff, but I'd like to think we could put a bit of a better league together here. I think pretty much every NBL team would be interested in his services if he was to come back here. Someone I think we both always enjoyed playing there. He had some decent moments for the Boomers as well. So, yeah, I'd like to say we would see him back. And, look, he's not that old in the context of things. I think there's a chance there. It's just whether he wants to. Maybe he's enjoying that kind of, traveling the world sort of lifestyle that he's doing at the moment. But, yeah, certainly had a great career to date.
Yeah, definitely. And, the Phoenix could do with someone like him on that roster right now, couldn't they?
Yeah, look, as a six-man maybe or something. I mean, look, I'm not saying he couldn't start, but wouldn't he be good as like that first guy off the bench for a contending type of team? And I'm sure he'd probably handle that role pretty well. So, yeah, no, you're right with that.
Yeah, awesome. So, yeah, I'd like to see Mitch Creek back in the league. I've got a question in the true or false later about if we're going to see somebody else back in the league ever again. So we'll get onto that later. So let's kick things off, man. I thought let's change it up a little bit, right? We talk about the NBA, we talk about free agent signings. I thought let's look at a few guys who have just been signed to two-way contracts across the NBA, right? Guys who are maybe getting a second chance or a final opportunity to make an NBA roster, or, guys who are just trying to make their way from the start. So I've chosen 5 guys, and I want to run them all by you and give me your thoughts, right? So first of all, we saw that Nick Smith Jr. was waived by the Charlotte Hornets earlier this week, right? And the Los Angeles Lakers have now picked him up on a two-way contract. Firstly, we talked about the Hornets last week when I did the preview, and you're talking about the depth on that team is very minimal, right? Having a guy like Nick Smith Jr. who made some strides last year in when he got given an opportunity, someone who you were impressed with. You surprised they gave up on him so quickly, and what do the Lakers have in him?
Yeah, look, I was impressed with him. I know you were as well, being a bit of a Charlotte Hornets League Pass fan as well. So I was pretty surprised when I saw that he'd been waived, to be honest, like you said, with the depth that they've got on that, or they did have on that Charlotte team with him there. So, look, I think he's a chance of making that Lakers team. We spoke about the Lakers team as well. Maybe they don't have the best sort of backcourt depth as well. So I think it was a pretty astute signing by them. And wouldn't be surprised if he sticks on and can certainly contribute a little bit with that team, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's a good environment for him, as you said. Getting traded to Siberia, who were we talking about? Josh Green last week in Charlotte might not have been conducive for his growth, but being around some of the greats of the game in that LA system, it'll be good for him, I think.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on. I'm going to talk to you about Alex Tui. No surprise here, he's been put on a two-way contract. What do we expect from him this year? What kind of contributions? A lot of time in the G League, I presume, right?
I think a lot of time in the G League, right? It might depend on injuries there. I mean, if you were to see, a Jimmy Butler or one of these older guys go down, it's kind of next man up mentality. He may get a bit of a go there. Look, they've got a loaded roster and they've got a lot of veterans on that team as well. So maybe they want to play some of the younger guys at certain stages there. We saw they just finally got the deal done with Jonathan Kuminga today. They also re-signed Gary Payton. I think D'Anthony Melton as well is coming back. So look, it's going to be hard for him to get minutes. I think we've probably got to be honest with that there. He'd probably be the 15th guy in line at the moment, I would have thought. So look, go to the G League, play with your boy Taron Armstrong, right, and try and sort of put up some stats and get noticed and that. And maybe it's always that next man up mentality. So if there is a couple of injuries there, or he may get a chance there, but probably a bit of time in the G League. You thinking the same?
Yeah, I'm thinking exactly the same, right? And he's gonna, once again, a great environment for him to grow. Like Luke Travers, when he first came in, he got to do his dues, right? So let him learn, and we'll see the best of Alex Tui in a couple of years, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
All right, the next guy I want to talk about is a former second-round pick of ours, Sharif Cooper. Now, I was really high on him coming out of Auburn. You'll remember we recorded one of our first podcasts ever, and we were doing a preview of the Hawks. And I was really high on Sharif Cooper.
Yeah.
Mixture of injuries and lack of opportunity have stunted that growth. But he's just signed on for a two-way contract himself with... It was Washington.
Cleveland, wasn't it?
No, it was Cleveland maybe. Let me just double check that.
Cleveland, yeah. Well, look, bit of a surprise. He's been out of the league for at least 3 seasons, I would have thought. Now, maybe this, 2 full seasons and a little bit of another
Washington.
one.
Yeah, it's Washington.
It is Washington. Okay, yeah. Well, look, you never know with Washington, right? You never know who's kind of on that roster. They did trade away Jordan Poole there. CJ McCollum came back. Are they going to sort of potentially buy out some of these older guys? There might be some minutes to be had there. Yeah, look, I think we're both high on him in that Hawks uniform. And maybe it was going to be a chance to make it. I think he had a good summer league for that rookie year for the Hawks, and we're pretty high on him. I know you're very much a fan of his hair. That was always something you always liked there. Yeah, look, I think it's probably a little bit more of a long shot than the other ones there. You never know what Washington are going to do there, but I'd say it might be a little bit tough for him to crack this rotation. It might just be a bit of a tryout, and you might see him get waived. I hope I'm wrong, but yeah.
Yeah, so to answer your question, he's been in Greece, he's been in Turkey, he's been in China, he's been in the G League. So he's, 2021, he's become a bit of a journeyman, right, to come back here. So once again, a guy who's going to be given, maybe one final crack to make the league. And I'd like to see him make the most of it. And as you said, Washington maybe is a place where he get that opportunity.
And a Hawks jersey of him, neither of us have. That would have been a pretty cool one, right?
Absolutely. Another guy I want to talk to you about is Oliver Maxence Prosper. Now, he was doing really well with the Mavericks last year. He's just signed with the Memphis Grizzlies on a 2-way contract. To your point, you talked about injuries early on in the season for those Grizzlies in the front court, right? You've got the likes of Zach Edey and Triple J who are going to miss out on time early. We talked about the kind of role that Jock Landale is going to have. Even though he's on a 2-way deal, we might see him early in the season, right? Coming and playing some backup.
Yeah, and look, the Mavs were definitely high on him last year, weren't they? So it's almost a bit of a surprise they got rid of him there. But yeah, absolutely. A team like Memphis, as you mentioned, with those injuries there, he's probably a chance if he can have a decent training camp there, maybe get a couple of preseason games and show him what he's got there. He could be a decent chance to crack that rotation, maybe more than the guys you've said before in this situation, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And look, he's a prototype, 6'8", can do a little bit of everything. You can put him in multiple positions. He can stretch the floor. Where do you think he was born?
Well, I'm assuming France with a name like that.
Quebec, right? Man. So French Canada.
Interesting. Yeah, nice.
All right, so let's go from one guy with European roots to a guy who comes from Europe, Tosan Iboma. Now, we talked about him last week. He put up good numbers for the Brooklyn Nets last year. I just looked them up, actually. 23.8 points per game, 9.5 points.
Minutes per game.
23.8 minutes per game, sorry. 9.5 points, 4.3 rebounds. Sorry, my apologies. But yeah, that's significant court time he's getting, and he's putting up decent numbers, right?
Mate, England's finest, right? He's got to be a chance to make this team. Obviously, they would have seen what he was doing, just across the road, essentially playing with Brooklyn last year. And yeah, the Knicks probably need a little bit of depth. They've been a team that traditionally hasn't played their bench a lot. That might be a little bit different now with the coaching change with Mike Brown there. But I'd say he's a decent shot, right? If he has a decent training camp there, like you said, you're putting up 10 points a game, albeit it was with Brooklyn last year. But he could certainly play the game. So yeah, I think we'd like to see him get picked. That's probably a jersey I could see you buying one day, right?
Oh, for sure, man. It'd just be
Yeah,
cool,
that's
right?
a random one. Like, I always say I don't like the Smith and the Johnsons and the Jones and all those jerseys
Yeah.
like that. Yeah, that's a
Iboma.
pretty cool one. Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, that's great. It's nice to see some guys getting an opportunity. We'll follow their progress closely throughout the season.
Mm.
Now, it was really good last week. We did some team previews. We talked about Charlotte. We talked about LA, and then you said, "Woods, let's just do a few more, man. Let's
Mm.
keep knocking a few other teams out." And I said, "What about the Rockets? Because obviously, big injury, some news. I'm sure you get into it in a
Yeah.
minute." So I just thought we'd do the Rockets and the Raptors,
Mm.
and a few Bernie questions heading into the season, right? So let me
Yeah.
just bring this up here for you.
And Woods as well. How good's it been seeing some of the, the training camp, photos and everything else like that? It's really sort of been getting me hyped up. We're literally
For
3 weeks
sure.
away now. So, yeah, Houston, I'm going to talk a little bit about them now. So, look, we'll start off obviously with the bad news that came out last week, and that was the news that point guard Fred VanVleet will likely miss the entire season due to a torn ACL. So, look, that's certainly, really dampened expectations for Houston as well, without them having a lot of depth in that backcourt there. As you'll remember in the off-season, they did trade Jalen Green to Phoenix there, and he would have, probably filled into that spot well. So, look, it's definitely Reed Shepherd time now. I think there's no doubt about it, right? Very high pick last year. Didn't really get that opportunity. He averaged 4 points and 1 assist essentially there. But look, they've basically got Reed Shepherd and then veteran Aaron Holiday. They're the only two, I guess, true sort of, ones, or, I guess Shepherd could play a bit of two as well there. But it's interesting to see what they might do. One name I'll sort of throw out and see what your thoughts are there in terms of handling the ball a bit more would be Rockets rising star Nen Thompson. So last year he played 1% of his court time at point guard there, but look, he's shown that he's got some playmaking abilities. Apparently they have been getting him to, work on that aspect in the off season there. But am I crazy to think that he could play a little bit of one with some lineups on that team?
Potentially a little bit, but you don't want to rely on that a lot, right? And I think looking at that roster with that injury to Fred VanVleet, yes, Eamon Thompson can do a bit more ball handling, but you probably got to go out into the free agent market and get someone there because
Yeah.
as you say, I mean,
No,
Reed
you're
Shepherd,
right. And I don't think they have a lot
yeah,
of money though. That's probably the issue there. I mean, look, while you've got that run sheet up as well, look, it's a pretty impressive team, right? Obviously, Shepard's a little bit of a question mark. You've got Thompson, Kevin Durant. I've heard he's pretty good at basketball. Jabari Smith, someone that you're not high on, and Alperen Şengün, who I think we're both really high on. I'm gunning for him in a couple of my fantasy comps this year. I think he's going to put up some big numbers. They've got the massive, backup centers in Steven Adams and Clint Capella. And then you've got some real long defensive guys on this team. I think that's kind of what they're trying to build with this team. They've got long arms and, guys like Dorian Finney-Smith, Tari Eason, Josh Okogie, those sort of guys like that, are going to come on and create some havoc there. Did you see the photo in the training camp of KD and Jeff Green next to each other? I thought that was really cool that those
awesome,
guys
man.
are reunited there. That's pretty cool.
Yep.
So I'll maybe throw you a burning question about Şengün there, Wood. So one thing I've been looking at there, we know he's a true five. He's kind of he's got some Jokic skills there, I guess, with the way he can handle the ball and stretch the floor a little bit.
Yep.
I'm wondering in certain lineups, could you perhaps play him at the 4 and then go a really big team with either Steven Adams and Clint Capella at the 5? Because Steven Adams and Clint Capella, they're old school centers, right? They're not going to really shoot beyond, not even beyond the free throw line, let's face it there. But Şengün can stretch the floor, he can handle the ball. So I wouldn't mind seeing him try that and try that really long lineup, where you've basically got, KD at the 3, you play a bit of Şengün at the 4, and one of those, the big Kiwi or the big Swiss guy at the center there. What are your thoughts on that? Could you see that happening?
I could see that happening. Look, they've covered a lot of bases at 4 and 5 in the front court. So Jabari Smith, Şengün, Dorian Finney-Smith, who can also, play at centers in some lineups, Steven Adams and Clint Capella. They like that three-headed monster at center. Last year they went with Steven Adams and Jock Landale, and as you said, you probably need... we did see at times Adams play alongside Şengün last year, and I told you I liked it. They did it in the playoffs. It worked well, right? So I don't see why they couldn't do that again, right? And
hey, before I go on to my third one, Woods, why don't you tell people why you're not a Jabari Smith fan? What's your problem with Jabari?
I just feel he hasn't improved much over the years. He came in, as a lottery pick, highly touted, and I just don't think that he moves the needle that much, right? He'll get you that infinity line, which I don't like, right? He'll get you like shots, minimal rebounds, no assists. He'll go multiple games without even getting an assist. I just think that he's not very good, basically.
Fair enough. No, you've certainly been
Yeah.
consistent with your opinion
I
on
hope he
him.
proves me wrong because, like,
Yeah.
I mean, he's one of those guys they drafted high on potential because he's tall, 6'10", stretches the floor.
Yeah.
He's technically should be a better rebounder than he is, right?
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned how much someone moves the needle there. So that's what I've got for my third and final one. Kevin Durant. How much do you think he moves the needle on this team? Noting the Rockets were an impressive 52-30 last year. So they were, 11 games over 500 last year. I think a lot of people have certainly got him in the top three, maybe in the West. I certainly think I will with that lineup we're looking there. What do you expect from that? Do you think he's someone that can come in and, he might have a few less opportunities offensively than he did in Phoenix? We know he's still a great defender. He's so long and everything like that. But do you think he moves the needle? Is that like someone that with that addition there, they could win another, 5 to 8 games and approach that 60 win total? What are your thoughts on that?
I think losing Van Vliet cancels that out, and they're pretty much the same as last year, right? Because now they don't have a floor general really to come on and work with KD. But I think he'll put up good numbers. Health is always a key with him. He's 36, 37 now, something like that, right? So staying healthy, making sure he's ready to contribute in the postseason is important. We might get 60 regular season games out of him, you think? 65.
Yeah, possibly so.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm really concerned about that loss. Fred VanVleet, not a great regular season guy, but he's still that leader on the floor, championship winner. So that really puts a dent. And then he comes back, and Kevin Durant's a year older, right?
Yeah.
So
I'm going to say that Woods, it's a team I'm looking forward to play. I'll certainly be checking them out on League Pass. There's some interesting pieces there. Such a long team. I know some people said, well, they might as well just go and get Ben Simmons now and have like the longest lineup in the league. I don't think they've even got the salary to do that, as far as I'm aware there. But yeah, they're going to be a fun team to watch, and yeah, we'll see how it all goes together for them.
Is Van Vliet contracted beyond next year?
Good question. Not totally sure about that, but yeah. Hopefully, for his sake, I know he's earned a bit of money there, but yeah.
All right, thanks, Robbie. Really appreciate you taking the time to do your research on the Rockets. And I'm just bringing up the Raptors there. Quickly take you guys through the depth chart as it looks. Quickly, Barrett, Ingram, Barnes, and I haven't got it on there, but Jakob Poeltl is the starting center. Just having a look here. Sorry about that. I cut off the center rotation there, but we've got Jakob Poeltl there as the starting center. So I've got a few burning questions going into the season, Robbie, and I wanted to get your opinion on a few things, right? At the 24-25 trade deadline, they added Brandon Ingram, as I just mentioned, to that first unit that already had Poeltl, Barrett, Barnes, and Emmanuel Quickley. Now, on paper, those 5 should be able to edge out quite a few opponents offensively. And they've got a lot of young guys you can see there that have bolstered their rotation. We'll get into that in a moment. But obviously, defensively, that's a real concern with that lineup out there, correct?
It's another one of those long limb sort of teams, isn't it? You've got a lot of sort of long arms in Brandon Ingram, RJ Barrett, even Scotty Barnes as well. Look, I'm a fan of Brandon Ingram Woods. I'm just not sure I trust his injury history there. I mean, that was one of those ankle injuries that he essentially missed, 5 months with last year, and you wonder whether they just tried to say, look, we want you healthy for next year. But I think, look, if he fires, that could play a big part with this Toronto team. I'm not loving that lineup, to be honest, when I'm not looking at that there. There's a lot of kind of what ifs and a few players that might sort of strike gold there, but even just look at the 2 point guards, right? Emmanuel Quickley and Jamal Sheed there. I'm not sure that's NBA quality point guards on that team. I would have thought from that, but I don't know. I mean, should I be worried about Brandon Ingram's injury history or what?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and rightfully so. They do have some talented guys. Abaji made some ways forward last year, right? And we even saw a guy like Jacoby Walter, play meaningful minutes towards the end of last season. So they've got some young talent there. I guess that you talked about RJ Barrett, so it's a good segue for me. And the NBA it's a business, right? We know that, and the Raptors recently put RJ Barrett on the trade block. And the guy's got a lot of love and loyalty to Toronto, but I don't think he's an optimal fit for them in their projected starting lineup. And there's a lot of people saying he may not survive till the trade deadline. What do you think? Is RJ Barrett someone they should look to trade or give him some time? Yeah.
It's interesting with the Canadian sort of playing, in his home country there. Maybe he's got to watch out for the guys behind him on that depth chart. Your boy Grady Dickwoods, I'm not sure if you saw that. Apparently he's grown 2 inches. So Dick grows 2 inches. A great headline there. But yeah, apparently that's legit now. He's a legit 6'8". He was 6'6" at training camp last year. So also Derek Lively's apparently measured at 7'3" now as well, which is crazy. So these guys are still growing, even though they've been in the league a few years. But yeah, I mean, look, if they do trade him, they probably almost need to get someone back that plays a similar position, I would have thought, right? Because then you're sort of really putting a lot of pressure on some of these other guys in that rotation. I mean, do you really want to be giving guys like Garrett Temple and these sort of guys big minutes there? I don't mind RJ Barrett, I've got to say. I think he's someone that's New York wasn't the right fit for him there. I kind of like him, playing in his home country more, and maybe give him some time to work with some of these guys like Ingram. We haven't really spoke about him, but Jakob Poeltl, there's someone I do like as well. We talked about the guys like Şengün. He's a guy that can sort of, facilitate the offense from the 5 position there. But I'd like to see him give him a go. And look, if they are going to trade him, at least give him a go and I guess, showcase him there and get his worth up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, Grady Dick is a more efficient player. You know that RJ Barrett can be inefficient, right? At times.
Would you wear a Grady Dick jersey or what?
No, absolutely not. But I did wear a Rudy Gay jersey, right?
You did.
So, yeah.
You did.
Okay, cool. Okay, final question then. Does Scotty Barnes have another level? All right, he was taken 4th overall 2021. We know that. He's emerged as the face of this franchise, let's say, right? And he puts pressure on defenses. He's a physical specimen. He's got a great IQ. He's got guard skills, I'd say. He's a playmaker, from the forward position. Great defender. But the issue to this point has been shooting, right? He's a 30% career 3-point shooter. Last year he took, it actually went down a little bit, 27.1. Has he plateaued? I mean, that's the question from me. Does he have another level he can take his game to?
From all accounts, the Raptors absolutely love him, right? He's basically their untouchable sort of franchise guy on that team there. So, yeah, I mean, I'd like to think, with those numbers you mentioned there, he's got, on the court and practiced a lot in this offseason, right? So, he's someone that, he certainly came on strong and maybe, like you said, maybe he's kind of stayed at that level and not gone that next step up there. But I think he's got all the tools to do it. As you said, he's a massive body guy. He can handle the ball. He can defend. It's probably just that, consistent shooting that's holding him back there. So I'd like to see him put up an all-star season there. And look, honestly, if he can put up an all-star season and guys like RJ and, Brandon Ingram have solid seasons there might be a team that surprises a little bit in the East.
Yeah, definitely. And, they've got interesting players, guys that are fun to watch. But let's see how it plays out. I mean, they're going to get great support like they always do every year, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Hey, man, while we're on the topic of the NBA, let's talk about the NBA, NBL games coming up, right? We got Friday night, United, I think, if I'm not mistaken, and Sunday night is SEM. Is that the order?
I think it is,
Yeah, it is, all right?
Yeah.
So Zion Williamson, the NBA guys arrived. What a flagship moment it is for Australian sport to have NBA franchises come and play official preseason games here in Australia, in Melbourne. I mean, it would be nice to get one of those in Sydney.
It's a shame that we're not going to be there, right? I was thinking that last week. Geez, I kind of wish maybe I had looked into this and booked some tickets a while ago, because it's going to be like a special occasion, right? I think it's they're putting on a great promotion there in Melbourne, and it's going to be something that's really supported there. But exciting! I'm definitely excited to watch both games there. I think United could basically be a chance of putting up a W on Friday. It's a long flight. I mean, I know we do these flights all the time, but for some of these Americans flying to Australia, it's like, the most hard thing they've ever done in their life, sort of thing. So they might be, suffering a bit of jet lag there, and it might be something that Melbourne can kind of jump on them and get a big win there. But yeah, looking forward to it. Obviously, no DeJounte. I think is he the only one sort of out? I'm not sure if Herb Jones is injured as well. But I mean, look, I love Alvarado. I love Trey Murphy there, and I'm interested to see Skinny Zion and how he looks there. So. Yeah, definitely looking forward to the games for sure.
Carlo Matkovic still there? He is, eh?
Yeah, could be. Yeah,
he is. He's still on there.
Yeah.
So there's a few guys I'm looking forward to watch. And it's going to be a great spectacle, great crowd in by all 100%. Reports.
Yeah, it's a funny round in the NBL. I know we're going to talk about that next, but obviously, there's only 3 games a day. I think 2 games. There's games on Thursday and games on Saturday, and then those 2 NBA, NBL games are Friday and Sunday there. So hopefully, gets a lot of attention there, and people watch it, because this could be the start of something. Maybe next year we get another team coming, and maybe they come to Sydney there. So that'll be cool.
That'll be cool. It's only a matter of time before we get a regular season game here, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
All right, so let's get into it then. Without a further ado, I'm just going to bring up the NBL round for you, and we'll just reflect on the previous round real quickly. So, all right, Cairns and Adelaide, first game, which will be a part of a 2-way doubleheader tomorrow night.
I'm actually glad we're not playing tomorrow. Some good games to watch there.
All right, so let's talk about the Cairns Taipans. 2-0 on the weekend, man, including a win against the Sydney Kings, right, and the Sunshine Stars as well. Now I had him as the wooden spoon, and I wish I can take that back now just to see Jack McVeigh turn it on. Talk to me, man. I know you really enjoyed watching my Kings choke in the season opener.
Man, I think more than that, I just enjoyed watching Jack McVeigh. I just love the way the guy plays. It's just funny, some of the stuff he does and the off balance, sort of the way he plays. He must have been a fan of Dirk, I reckon, growing up. There's definitely some of the shots that he takes there that seem to be Dirk-esque to me there. But yeah, really impressive weekend for him, right? Andrew Andrews came in. I think he cramped up in both games. But, he's not shy, is he? He's definitely a shoot first point guard. But he made some big shots when it counted in that one. But yeah, I think it was pretty impressive. I think we're all a little bit worried after the first round where they went down quite heavily to Melbourne there. But what were your thoughts on going to that game? Do you think they're a team that might surprise teams, or was it just Sydney wasn't great in that game?
I think they might surprise a few, but Admiral Schofield, although he had a good game, he does concern me a little bit, right? Various times where he's just not going for rebounds, right? He's just watching someone else, expecting someone else to go for it, and he's missing out on rebounds, and he's missing some rotations, taking some ill-advised shots, attempting 5-6 plus threes a game at a low clip. So he's a little bit of a concern for me, but I'm just going to give him the benefit of the doubt now. Give him a few games to, get accustomed to the league and his teammates. But overall, very, very good weekend for Cairns. And yes, I think they're going to surprise a lot of people, to answer your question.
Sure.
All right, Adelaide. Man, Zylan Cheatham, 14 boards, I think. Bryce Corden, 39 points. It must have been a bittersweet for you, I guess. It was nice to see your guy do well, but not in the correct uniform, let's say.
It was strange. I was watching it with my daughter, and she was kind of watching my reaction. It was kind of just a lot of just, smiling and shaking my head at the stuff he was doing. He just came out. Bryce Cotton was just absolutely on fire and showed how just an amazing a player he is there, right? So, it's an intriguing team, Adelaide. Obviously, they've got the new import playing his first game. I'm assuming he'll be playing in this game, and then they've still got another import spot left. Still a lot of, stuff behind the scenes. Montrezl Harrell's certainly gone out with a bit of a bang, hasn't he? It's very interesting. He's putting a bit of blame on Adelaide there. I'd love to know the full story there, right? Because they weren't the ones that got that doping violation and everything else like that. But a lot of people are saying maybe that they were happy to move on from him. Maybe that's kind of his thinking there. But yeah, it's all about Bryce Cotton, isn't it? I can't wait to sort of watch what he does, albeit it's going to be pretty sad for me to see it.
Yeah, and you got Rakocevic coming in, right? The new report. So obviously what this does is you take out a larger salary in Harrell, and you can get two, lower value imports to cover both bases. And you also bring high character individuals into that.
Yeah, I think it's a lot about that now, isn't it, for them?
Yep, and quickly on Zylan Cheatham, 14 rebounds. Just slide in Isaac Humphries and Zylan Cheatham, both of them, right? Losing Harrell, those two playing together, awesome. Yeah,
great combo. Big fan of Cheatham for sure.
Cool. So who you got? Cairns, Adelaide. Cairns at home tomorrow.
I'll say Adelaide for this one, but I think it should be a pretty decent game.
Yeah. I'm going to say Cairns in a close one. All right.
Interesting.
All right. Perth, Illawarra. Now first, let's talk about your Wildcats. I mean, they did get a victory the fourth quarter. Christian Doolittle really put the team on his back a little bit, right? But give me your thoughts. Yeah.
Well, clearly it's the Jaron Riley show right now. I mean, he was the main sort of talking point in that game. Shout out to him. He was huge. He really help us get that win there. A little bit concerned about Mason Jones, I've got to say. I'm going to give him a little bit more time. I was a little bit harsh on Doolittle when he started, and that kind of, turned around extremely well there. But I still think we should have gone for a more natural one. Obviously, that's what they've got, and we've got to stick with it there. But, look, it was good to see him get that win in New Zealand. Dylan Windler was huge. Bounced back from that subpar first game that he had there. And, some good contributions from guys like Dante Russo-Nance. He looks like he's taken another level. And Ben Henschel, although his shooting is still really poor at the moment, he made some really good defensive plays in that fourth quarter. He's someone that's just grown. We talk about guys, growing. He's grown a good couple of inches since he got picked up by the Wildcats there. So that was good to see as well. So, what a game this one is, though, coming up against Illawarra. We get to see JaVale McGee against JLA. There's some great matchups, throughout both teams there. So this is going to be an absolute cracker of a game tomorrow.
Yeah, cool. Well, let's get on to Illawarra. JaVale McGee, what did he have? 32 and 13 or something like that in his first run out. Now, my question to you is they lost the game, right? And, if he's going to be just shooting twos at the rim and take away the guys who are not going to be shooting the three ball, like Tyler Harvey and the other shooters they've got on that team, like Jonah Bolden when he comes back, etc. A team's going to live with that.
I mean, look, I don't think he's going to get that many points like he did in that first game there. And I think he probably had to shoot it a little bit more. I think they really missed Dave O'Hickey in that game,
Yeah,
right?
for
That
sure.
was someone that they had high hopes for on that. I'm not sure how long Bolden's going to be out. You mentioned Tyler Harvey. He was a bit shaky early. He finally found a few shots there, but never dies wondering, as we know, with him. But look, it was certainly an impressive debut. It's exciting for the league. It's almost similar to the Harrell thing last year, wasn't he? Such a big name player that's come out, and people are looking forward to seeing. They'll get good crowds going to the games there. But yeah, this is a tough one to pick though. This game, isn't it?
Yep.
I mean, I'm going to say Perth, but man, I'm not convinced.
I'm going to go Illawarra, and I'll tell you why, right? If it, like that fourth quarter against New Zealand, like Isaiah Leofa hit a few big shots to put them up, and I thought, what is going on here? They're not going to actually beat Perth, right?
Yeah.
And in that last quarter, if it wasn't for Doolittle and a few others really, who really stepped up, and you went on that massive run at the end, right?
Crazy run, 17-0 run, I think it was.
But the actual score doesn't. There's a lot of concerns from that game.
Yeah.
So I just think that unless they get their stuff together, I'm going to go Illawarra in a close one. Right?
Should I be worried about Mason Jones, or is it still too early?
I think it's too early. Give him a couple more games,
All
right?
But, 2 more games, I'll give him. All right.
Yeah. Is Hickey back?
I think it's touch and go. I'm thinking maybe won't be back as far as I'm hearing, but I hope he is, even though it's obviously going to hurt my team.
All right, Kings and Breakers. All right, I'm going to start off with the Breakers, right? A lot to be concerned about, right? Like with Parker Jackson Cartwright not fully healthy, they were competitive in that game, but concerning signs ahead, right?
I mean, look, we mentioned in our preseason predictions, Woods. I wasn't a big fan of the 3 locals they got back on that team there. It's just not something that I'm that excited about with those 3 guys. I can understand why they wanted to get locals back, but not guys that are going to massively move the needle for them there. Probably need a little bit more out of Baker there. Yeah, even Brockington's been a little bit slow. I would have thought he was a bit better in that game too than he was in the first game there, but some concerns. And look, this is a big game for both teams there. I mean, New Zealand don't want to go 0-3, but if you look at it from Sydney's point of view, 2 home games against 2 of the teams that aren't highly ranked. Obviously, Kansas a respected team there, but massive game for Sydney. If they go 0-2, there could be some real troubles. And I think they've lost like a few regular season games in a row, like 5 or 6 games in a row. I think it might be going back to last season. So yeah, big game. I know you'll be there. I know you like the Saturday night games as well, right?
I do love the Saturday night game. It was really concerning on Saturday, our loss to the Cairns Taipans, right? We got held to minimal points, right? And Cairns played well. They played with heart, but I guess having that lack of front court depth. I mean, Matt McQuaid, shout out to Matt, he said it on the round table. If you think a front court of Xavier Cooks, Hunter Goodrick, and Tim Suarez can take you to the promised land to win you a championship, then you're kidding yourself, right? And a lot of the experts think they would be in the top 4, but what did I say, 6th or something? Matt McQuaid said might not even make the top 6. This is why, right? As great as that backcourt is, they're getting nothing out of Bull Call. They got 8 rebounds, 1 from 3 from the field or something like that. Like he just goes absent. So I'm really concerned, and this is a really, really, really important game in our franchise's
huge
history, right? Like, I mean, if we lose against Cairns and New Zealand after going out being this, this team that we recruited in the offseason, brought Kendrick Davis here, all the bells and whistles, it's not.
Are you liking seeing Kendrick Davis jacking up 27 shots in a game? That's too many, right?
No. How much did Delhi take? 16, maybe?
Yeah, but geez, his Delhi's shot was looking off in that game, wasn't it? It's kind of like the old Delhi, somebody shooting there. But look, I think both these guys will turn around.
Yep, I mean, Galloway needs to be obviously a big part of what they're trying to do, and Xavier Cooks as well. I'd like to see them more involved on Saturday night. And yes, Kings by 15, man. If I'm going to be confident here, like surely, like
I'm pretty confident Kings will win this one too. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Cool. Bullets and Jack Jumpers. I want to talk about the Bullets. All right. Man, what is going on? Right, this Steel Ash. Right. He's not even like. Does he know like what? A pin down is or anything? Like, does he know how to does he know about basketball terminologies? Does he know how to draw up plays on the board? Is that why he's giving the duties to Vanderjagt?
Did you see the timeout when they showed him actually speaking then? I mean, I'm sort of, captain / coach of our Thursday night team. He was basically doing something like I would, guys, you've got to, you got to run harder and do, it was just the most simple instructions he was giving. It's like something you give to a kid's team sort of thing. It's very strange.
No more one pass shoots, guys.
Yeah.
No more one pass shoots.
Yeah, there was nothing technical about that timeout, was there?
What are you talking about,
yeah,
man?
It's certainly getting a lot of attention, isn't it? Vanderjagt and DMAC essentially doing the coaching, drawing up the plays and everything else like that. So, look, if they continue to, they're 1-1, but if they, drop a few games, I think it's going to continue to be a big talking point around the NBL.
But I'm asking you the question. Do you think he knows about this stuff, the X's and O's?
I mean, he has to.
He has to, right?
I'd like to
He
think
has
so.
to,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
We haven't seen it in the timeouts and stuff. But my thing is, if you're going to be the coach, man, and you know all those X's and O's, get in the huddle, do the research, do the video work, and run the team yourself. Your assistant coaches are there for a reason. If not, step out of the way and give one of them the job, man.
No, I totally agree. And if they start to lose a few, there'll be some questions asked. And I know he's friends with the owner by all accounts there, but it's probably going to get a lot of negative publicity, and it certainly has this week, hasn't it? Mark Worthington didn't back down with some of his comments on X about the situation.
Yeah. Yeah, he didn't, right? Okay, so who you got there? Look quickly, before you give me that, Tasmania, man, very impressive. They got David Johnson out for a
That's a
bit.
big one, isn't it? He's out for at least a month, I'm hearing now. So, look, they've certainly been hit by the injury bug there. Yeah, look, I'd say Tassie will probably win this one. I think they've probably still got enough there. I think your boy Freeman Liberty might be missing that game for Brisbane as well. So, yeah, I'd say Tasmania, but it might be a close one, I would have thought there.
I mean, Sam McDaniel might be out as well. They're actually quite decimated with injuries. They've got Norton out as well. I can't see them. It'll be a tough one. I mean, they're at home, but it'll be a really tough one for them. But, yeah. Cool. All right, and then obviously we've got the 2 games on Friday and Sunday. No NBL on those days. The NBA versus NBL. All right.
Yeah.
So let's finish off with some true or false here, Robbie. Thanks for all the research and everything this week, man. Appreciate it. So first question, Robbie. Montrezl Harrell will play in the NBL again. True or false?
So I've got in my notes here, Woods. Hell no, false. Yeah, look, I don't think he's probably worth that baggage that maybe he's going to bring there. You might, sell some jerseys and some seats and that, but I don't think he's going to get another chance out here. And yeah, it's a shame, isn't it? I think we're all looking forward to him this year, but it's just not going to happen. I can't see him playing back here.
And let me ask you a controversial question, Robbie. There's a lot of people in various sections of the media and whatnot who have said, "Man, he's great for the league, such a character." Was he?
I think he was. Yeah. I mean, he got the casual fan watching. I mean, you look at our Thursday night basketball team. There's literally 3 of us that like NBL out of the 10 players there. Every other player that doesn't like NBL knows Montrezl Harrell, so they would have sort of had that casual eye on the game and stuff like that. So yeah, I think he was good for the league in that regard.
Fair enough, man. And I'll go false. I don't think we'll see him in the NBL again, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and for context, the second question, I'm going to give you a little bit of a phrase, which I'm going to read. The 22-23 NBA MVP was Joel Embiid, and he has appeared in just 58 games over his past 2 regular seasons, due largely to a lingering left knee injury, as we know. Furthermore, durability continues to be a concern for the star big man entering his age 31 season, right? My question to you is true or false? Joel Embiid will play more than 58 games this season.
I'd be pretty confident of a false for this one, Woods. I honestly think even if his health is better than it has been in the last couple of years with, not playing back-to-backs and just, rest games sort of thing, I think he'll probably play around the 50 mark, and that's saying he is healthy there. So it's a shame, isn't it? Some of the, comments, he's going to try his best and do all these sort of things. Apparently he really wants to get out there. His body is just failing him there, but it's a shame, isn't it? He's not going to be remembered for the player that he could have been. Just that knee's just, continuing to impact him so much, right?
His knee's stuffed, man. That's for sure. But I'm really rooting for him this year, right? So I'm going to say true, because 60 out of 82 games is 3 in every 4 games. If he can manage that, it's possible. So I want to be optimistic and say, look, because if he has more serious issues, it could be coming to an end, right?
Yeah, that's let's hope he can get it sorted out.
Sure. Now, first of all, we saw the Townsville tip, which was the equivalent of the NBL Blitz tip-off earlier this week, I think it was. And you would have blinked and you would have missed it, man. Nowhere to watch it, no coverage of it, right? So my question to you is, the NBL Blitz and the Townsville tip, or whatever they want to call it, should be played simultaneously at the same venue each year going forward.
Yeah, look, for those that don't know about it, Townsville tip is the WNBL preseason there. So, look, I thought they were going to promote the game a little bit better this year. It's, a little bit guarded to say that they will be doing that. But I like that suggestion. I'll say true. I think it would be good to... Obviously, you need a pretty good venue that's going to hold a lot of games over a 3 or 4 day period sort of thing, maybe even longer than that. But I'd like to see that happen, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And I say true too. Obviously, logistics and things are all involved. There's all these preseasons. There's these, Giannakopoulos tournament and the NBA, NBL. You've got to be able to logistically do it. But the administrators should make an effort to do that in the future, I think. Yeah.
True.
And what about no coverage of this Townsville tip anywhere?
I mean, I was looking for the WNBA big game 5 today on ESPN. That wasn't on either. So I still think they've got to do a better job of promoting women's basketball. We're trying to help grow it, as we've mentioned a few times in the show. But no, look, you're right. If I saw a few little things on X come up on that, but otherwise blinked and you would have missed it. I think probably a lot of people did miss it.
Yep, fair enough. Thanks, Robbie. Yeah, let's see what happens in the years going forward. And the final question is 130. That's the price of a brand new jersey. That's just a standard one. Is that correct?
That's right.
Now on the nblstore.com.au.
Yeah.
Okay, now what if you want to get one of those like bespoke ones, right? That's going to be like 150, right?
Or if you want to get one that's basically, like a no-name sort of player on the team that isn't sort of in that standard ones they make there. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So, all right. So my question is true or false? $100 is an acceptable price for a brand new jersey from nblstore.com.au in 2025.
Yeah, I'm going to say true. I think 100's pretty reasonable. 130 is way too much. I mean, 130 is pretty much what they are in the NBA store. Obviously, for those that don't know, you can buy jerseys on the NBA store for way cheaper than you can buy them inside a physical NBA store in Australia, which just baffles me. But yeah, look, I think 130 is probably going to turn a few people away. They're saying it's a more quality jersey and it's heavier and stuff like that. I don't know if that justifies a 30% sort of increase there, but yeah, I think 100 is reasonable. I think true with that.
Yeah, true. I agree. Having said that, how many are we going to get this season?
Yeah, probably a few. Yeah, my McVay one's coming. I'll tell you.
All right, man. We're suckers. All right, man. Why don't you take us out? Where can we be found? All of that, right?
Yeah. So just a reminder to please make sure you like, rate, and subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts. We can be followed on X at Throwback Hoops. Now, Woods, I've got to remind you again to put up our jerseys and cards and those sort of things. So maybe you can do that. Maybe you can do that after we record here, so that'll be up, and I'll get this out tomorrow. So, yeah, also Instagram and our email address, I've given that out there previously. If you've got any feedback, comments, anything else like that, and also Patreon if you want to pledge, a couple of dollars to support, the expenses that are associated with this, would be much appreciative of that.
Yep, thanks, Robbie. Yeah, really excited, as you said, a doubleheader on a Thursday night, which is going to be fun for everyone, and obviously the NBA stuff this weekend. Any final thoughts before we leave?
No, look, yeah, big weekend. As I mentioned, the training camps have started in the NBA, so we're literally 3 weeks away from that starting. We've got an NBA team here playing in Australia, so it's all looking good. And yeah, get out and watch or support your local team this week, and can't wait to kick it with you again next week.
For sure. Thanks, Robbie. Peace out, everyone.